Thank you to be here in this hour in Columbia University and to welcome a politician. If you go to the presentation of the people who are going to address you, well, they are artists, they are creative people, and I think I'm the only politician. And politicians are not very popular today. And being former politician even maybe cannot attract your attention. The only, I would say, good quality of a former politician, a former foreign minister, that is a permanent status. You are not afraid to be, take out of your post, to leave your mission. It's a permanent status. And like that, you can speak out, you can be politically incorrect, and try to get your experience when you were taking responsibility, having this perspective of how things move, and try to share with an audience like you, the young people, the youth, some lessons that can, I think, be useful for the future of all of us. So let me try to share with you 3 ideas and convey to you 2 messages. The first idea, your generation, is the generation as what we, Jeffrey Sachs and these scientific people call Anthropocene era. It's a very strange name, not very known in the traditional public opinion atmosphere. You are a generation that live in a global, complex, uncertain world. You are the global, let's say, interdependent, interrelated, interconnected generation. You are a new generation, the generation of 21st century. And we, already the former politician, the so-called already middle-aged later on, we have been witnessing how quick life goes on and how the new elements come to this new reality in today's world. I remember that I used to qualify in my time as a young generation the world as the 3 Macs. It was McDonald, Macintosh, McLuhan. Today, you are from a different world. You are, I would say, gamma, Google, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook. You are gamma generation, a total different generation. I cannot compare my generation with yours because you are the one, as Siamak has said, that have to be connected with the phone, with the tablet, with the technology, with the new transformation of the world. And so you are lucky. Don't be pessimistic. You have much more tools. You have, for the first time in history, listen to that, for the first time in history, humanity can decide by their own what is going to be your future. It's no more, the dictatorship of nature. It's you that can take decision to protect these boundaries that Jeffrey Sachs explained and developed. These planetary boundaries need to be protected. But you, with your own decision, can really make things happen. So you have to be proud of that. You can really decide for a better future for all of you and for the next generation. Second idea, as Siamak say and Chandrika present of the Academy SDG. Well, last September, 1 year ago, practically, the UN. What is the UN? Well, today it's not very high recognition and credibility, but nevertheless, the UN took a historical decision to approve this sustainability agenda. These 17 objectives, these 169 targets, is a new agenda. It's the agenda of the 21st century. It's your agenda. It's not an agenda for the developing countries, or for the rich countries, or for the eastern countries, or for the north countries. It's the agenda for the whole humanity. It's our common agenda. And you have really to understand that the way to implement this agenda is by being global, being interconnected, being interactive, and be ready to decline all these objectives in a holistic, in a comprehensive manner. It will be a tremendous mistake if we only take care about gender, or we will take only about climate change, or we will only take concern about poverty and hunger. No. The only way to overcome that is to take all together in an interactive way in order to maintain and give a chance for this sustainability agenda. Number 3, how we are going to implement that? Well, the agenda is approved. That's what SDGN we are trying to do with your help and your assistance. But how? There are two main challenges, a political one and a financial one. A political one because we need not only state, not only governments, not only nations. We need the people, citizens, to mobilize, to be the ownership of this objective. Everybody talks about the great success at Paris conference, COP21, big historical success, a big new diplomatic success in multilateralism. Why it was a success? Because there was a drafting commission to get some conclusion? No. Because there was, of course, diplomats working behind doors to try to gather the different aspects of each nation and the different aspirations. But there was the civil society, there was the NGOs, there was the media, there was the private sector, all together, deciding that the rendezvous to get this climate change conference success was absolutely urgent and necessary. Compare Paris climate change success with yesterday failure on refugee immigrant. Why they fail? They failed because there was, yes, it was a government declaration. There was a consensus about 193 countries. But what the people, what the NGOs, what the civil society, what the media, what the public opinion, they were behind this conference? No. So we need you. You need you to mobilize. When the youth coordinator was explaining to the Leadership Council 2 days ago that he's moving, trying to make this kind of events and meetings, and they said they have 12,000 tweets. It's nothing, my dear Siamak. 12,000 tweets to realize the SDG is absolutely nothing among yourself. So you have to tweet, you have to make your message, you have to mobilize, you have to create this new momentum for the future of SDG. Two messages. The first one, everybody say, politicians say, youth is the future. It's not the future, it's the present. You are the present. It's not the future. And even more critical, because when we talk about SDG, when we talk about sustainability agenda, when we talk to Reimagine 2030, we are talking about the future of a generation that even they have not yet born. So why we are so incapable to start negotiation and to give a voice to this generation that are not still born? You can't do that. You should demand, you have to urge to be part of the negotiation. Try to organize, try to dream, try to imagine what is going to be the request, how the world will be in 2030, what will be the need for water, what will be the need for energy. And you could be the ones to represent this next generation in the diplomatic table. Second message. Well, the world is totally new. The world has totally changed. But what kind of world we are going to live through? I was in China 1 year ago. I went to see Alibaba. You most probably know Alibaba, the most prestigious and efficient, economic oriented, well, all the positive elements. And we talked to the vice president. He welcomed me. And he said, well, how do you deal this market-oriented, this capitalist system of Alibaba with a communist party regime? How you are going to fit together? And the vice president of Alibaba said to me, well, dear minister, you know, we are very proud because we are making a democratization process in China. We are empowering every Chinese to buy what he needs. Well, it's a very, very deep answer and a statement. My dear friend, don't be only consumers. You have to be citizens. This society, this economic tendency are trying to make of all of us only consumers and not citizens, with rights, with ideas, with creativity. And that is what you have to fight for. A French philosopher, Michel Serres, is quite old now, but I recommend you read it. He said recently in an interview he gave to a French radio, he was praising that even the world is confusing, is going in a very difficult trance, that the world is not so bad. And he said, well, we have to thank computer. Oh, because he's very critical with this world, but the journalist was a bit astonished and said, why this philosopher is praising computer? He said, yes, we have to praise computer because they have condemned us to be intelligent. Yes, my dear friend, computers have all the big data, they have all the facts, the figures, all the elements, but human beings have the intelligence. You have to get intelligent, to be creative, to have new ideas, to realize one element with another. And that is going to be the great challenge. And you should be the great challenge. Because to be creative means also to work with art, with culture. That we are trying to do in our foundation of Onward. We try to mix Onward, the art and globalization together. And art and culture, my dear friends, is something that human beings should not forget. Art and culture, as the Italian writer, very nice book called The Usefulness of Useless. Yes, culture and art are considered useless. What for to play guitar? What for going to a concert? It's not economically rentable. It's not economically useful. On the contrary, human beings need to have ideas to project their better life for all of us. So that is my final message. You have to be in this new road of sustainability, being citizens of the world. It should not be GAMAF, Google, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook. We have to be a global, solidarious, sustainable citizens. That's what should be in your work. And let me conclude by a quotation of Charles Dickens, a writer, a British writer, in his book, Tale of Two Cities. Most probably you know it, but I think it's come to this moment in a very appropriate way. He said it was the worst of time. It was the best of time. It was the despair of winter. It was the hope of summer. Let's have and work for a summer of good weather, of sun, in order to bring us to this sustainability road. Thank you very much.